I would say that most of us, probably 99.9% of the world, lives from a place of feeling that there's not enough. They don't have enough. It's a very deep rooted belief that lives in all of us, and it feels more real than anything because you can just look out into the world in here and see that this is true. So it really is a subject that's been coming up a lot for me and my friends and circles and clients, that there is this fear that there is not going to be enough just to live from the basics, the paying the bills, paying rent, having a place to stay, having enough food, being able to afford all these things. It goes so deep that we live from this, I don't have enough, so I need to jump out there and create enough. It's a very, very strong misperception. And trust me, I'm not over it. As I share my videos here, it is as I am moving through the layers myself and I see things with more clarity. And from that place is what I usually share. So for the last several months, I have definitely been taking a deep look at this underlying suggestion, hypnotic suggestion, as I often talk about, that I got from Joe Goldsmith. I think it's a great term. I've said it so many times. But it is like there is some kind of an underlying frequency, energy, suggestion that makes us feel as if there is not enough. And that what we do is we engage with that suggestion and then we start living as if that is true. And since the beliefs come through our minds and they're projected out there, which seems to be out there, because you can't there is an illusion is not real, so you can't project it out. You can't materialize an illusion except as a concept in the mind that the projector, projects out into our own visibility. That's the only place it lives, and it seems more real than anything else. Yes, I know, and it's not something you can really discuss or get into some kind of an argument about, but it's better to just take it in and then let the truth reveal itself so you can start seeing what is true, and then you can start disengaging from what is not true. So what I'm talking about today then is that this feeling that there is not enough is a strong, strong misconception. We can certainly call it a big, big lie. And it is up to us individually and collectively to dismantle that belief, and then the whole world will change. Because once we stop living from that belief that there is not enough, the whole thing about greed, stealing, lying, trying to present ourselves as better than we are so we can get more. There's this whole underlying thing that runs most of the world. Well, there is that song, right? Money makes the world go around. I don't know that I agree with that. I do agree with it as an expression projected out into the illusion. Yeah, that is probably what makes the world go around for most people. So I feel moved to put a new seed in consciousness. And instead of us keep feeding that old one, I have a little story I want to share with you. And it came to me a long time ago, and I can't remember if it came to me in a meditation, in a dream, or if I heard somebody else talk about it, or if I read it somewhere. I really don't remember, but it doesn't matter. The seed was planted somewhere, and somehow I picked up the seed and I wanted to share it with you now. So Let's imagine that you are on the other side. You have not taken birth yet, and you're getting ready to have a life experience, a life expression in this dimension. You are a spark of light. You are an expression of the divine, already fully complete, fully perfected, and fully equipped with anything you need. And I mean anything, because you are the light itself, and the light is infinity itself. There is nothing lacking in that. And that is who you are. That is who I am. So let's imagine you get yourself ready, and you have everything you need to come down here to have that experience. You cannot lack anything, because everything you need is already here, and it's just by you feeling into the need, the longing, the desire, the joy of it, the gratitude, the excitement of it. Whoop, it's there. That is how the light is. The light cannot not be light. The light cannot be dark. So you come down here on planet Earth and you get born, and you're not really concerned about having enough or being enough or where your next meal is going to come from. For the most part, I know there are areas where it is like that. And that is where we start sensing these hypnotic suggestions. You're like, somewhere in the distance, there's just this sense from mom or dad or wherever that there's not enough. But because you're still fully in and as your light, the light just, whoop, it doesn't even land anywhere. So you're just being your beautiful, shining light, and all your needs are met for most. And you just start growing and resting in this. But these suggestions, they get bigger as you start entering more into the world outside of your parents. There's more of these suggestions, and you may start seeing things out there that confirm that these suggestions are true. You might start seeing it in your own family, that there's not enough, and you see your father or your mother, they're struggling to make ends meet. So this light is kind of being covered in a way. It can't be covered, but it seems like this because these suggestions come in strongly, strongly. And the more they come in, it just seems like it's covering our light. And then we start living as if it is not true that we have enough, that there is enough, that we are enough. And then in abundance, never ever could there be lack, because there is no lack in light. It is simply impossible. You and I are that light. There cannot be lack. So what am I trying to say here now? Just notice if your mind starts, disagreeing or arguing with it. Just notice it. Just notice it. Don't go with it right now. Just notice it. If it does, if not, hopefully not. And just start feeling how you came in here, with all your your suitcases, which are not suitcases, but literally like when you go on a trip, you bring everything you need. That's what we did here. We brought everything with us that we need. And it's not like we put it in a suitcase. We bring it all with us because it's simply who we already are. How would that be? If you can just imagine a life where you deeply know that as a feeling, as a felt sense. Imagine living with such conviction and such peace that all your needs will always be met are always be met because it cannot be any other way. Just imagine walking around in your life like that instead of going like, oh, I need that. Oh, and I'm missing that. But just keep coming back here. No, I am that light. I am that fulfillment itself. It can't come to me. It can only exude from me. It can ooze out from me, and then it will manifest in whatever shape or form or need that seems to be current in the moment to have this life expression in this dimension. That is the truth. This is something that I spend time with to embody. It's almost like I want to give that more of my energy and start crowding out these hypnotic suggestions that want me to believe otherwise. So now imagine for a moment that for some reason, all the things that have been taken from us that really were ours, whether it's through taxes, all the taxes we pay, or I mean, you probably have your own ways where it feels like it was taken from you, or you had to work so hard just to have enough, and then you have to pay your bills and do this and that. Now, just for the sake of this little story, imagine that everything that we came in here with that we needed, that somehow was taken away from us, it all came back to us multiplied, because there's so much in the universe that there cannot be lack. And it's suddenly, because we don't have the shield up anymore, that there's not enough, it can all come back to us. So now imagine that everybody on our planet has more than enough every single day of their life. They never have to worry about having enough rent, having enough to the end of their life, having to save to make sure there's enough till the day you die. All the things that we do, nothing wrong with it. That's what we've done in this dimension. But if we are starting to move with this shift that's happening, which I certainly feel very strongly. So now imagine walking around in the world with everything you need is always available for everyone. What kind of a world do you think we would live in? Would anybody try and steal from you, take from you, deny you anything? Would there be greed, thieves, liars, whatever? Would there really be a need for that or an interest in that when you just have enough all the time? It's like you're the ocean itself. There's never ending enough water. And it's just always available. You know, if you're hungry, you start feeling hungry, and somehow, I'm not going to go into too many stories about that, but just for the sake of imagining and putting a new seed in there that is so different from the one that we feed every single day. Can we start feeding and just imagining? It's like, oh, when I'm hungry, this amazing food somehow just appears. Somebody may offer it. You might go in the garden and it's all there. Who knows what? Just imagine what that would be like. You'd never, ever have to worry about having your needs met. Can you feel that? You don't have to work to survive. You will do things that you enjoy, and just the pure joy brings with it the fulfillment of this joy. Now, I can go back to some of the quotations I have used before that kind of support this story, like, I know your needs before you do. You can call it God, the divine light, I know your needs before you do, and I am who I am. I am that I say I. That I am is already fulfilled and has everything available, and that will be expressed as needed. I know your needs before you do, and it is my good pleasure to give them to you. Now, how would it be to live by that statement as opposed to, oh, I don't have enough. How am I going to pay my bills? And I know the old one is not going to go away overnight because it's in every little cell of our body. This every cell has been accepting this hypnotic suggestion, this hypnotic lie that there isn't enough. So somehow with this YouTube today, I want to just kind of put a little seed out and say, this is what we need to feed from now on. And then let's see what happens. In the meantime, do everything you can to unhook from the belief. When you catch yourself believing it, try just not to engage in it more than you can, because there will be the tendency, right? That underlying suggestion is still here, right? So it's not going to be gone the moment you say, I'm done. It's still going to come in, back door, sideways, trying to trick you to believing it. And suddenly you're in that belief again. And then when you catch yourself, you go, oh, no, I don't want to feed that anymore. I go before you to make the crooked places straight, to straighten out the places where I still may be contracted, believing I can't have enough. I'm here, I go before you to straighten out that path, to open up for the flow to come through, and I go before you to prepare a place for you. Nowhere is it said like, you have to work really hard for this and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the Old Testament, right? That's when we left the Garden of Eden. But now we want to come back to the Garden of Eden. And again, using one of Rumi's quotes that I haven't used for a little while, is like, it's the field, I'll meet you in the field beyond wrongdoing and right doing. That field is the flow, is the fulfillment, and that's where we have to keep meeting. So I think one doorway is just start feeling like, how can it be otherwise? I am light, I am the divine, I am the allness and the fulfillment of everything. But I had just put on this mask, this suggestion that I have to do it all on my own. Fair enough. We've had that experience now for a long time. And if you feel done with that, then you can start taking off that mask, taking off that suggestion, and go to the place where actually I came here to have a full experience of who I am in this dimension without the veil, without the overlay, without the illusion. What do you think life is like when you live outside of that illusion? Do you think it's possible? I know it is, but it's not going to happen overnight because we're also entrenched in that old one still. It's a simulation we live in. And the only way we can unhook from the simulation is to unhook from it, to stop engaging in it, and instead engage with that spark of light, that divine spark of light that is fully connected to the field, to everything. So as we move through this field, everything is already there. And we're the ones that kind of bring it through into this 3D expression where we are experiencing it in a different way than in the higher dimensions. I hope you like this little story. I love it. It simply helps me to connect back to what is true. It reminds me, it's like, oh yeah, that is true. That makes so much more sense. You know, if if the divine spark threw itself down here, excuse me, into this dimension as light, how how is that possible? I mean, even just from a rational place, how is it possible that a spark of light that is connected to all the light, right? You can't just have a separate spark of light because that's impossible. When there's light, it's all light. It's everything is connected. So you cannot accept that suggestion that there is not enough. This is the first time I'm expressing that little story. It's been kind of going on in my mind and my heart. So if it's not fully clear, then my apologies. I hope it will get more clear. But many times when I share things, I get clarity from sharing it. And then, of course, I hope that clarity is transmitted onto you and that you can take it maybe to the next level in your own experience. So let's just imagine this little story that we came down here fully, fully equipped. All our needs met at any time, all the time, everywhere. And just start feeding that seed, because now we want this seed to start growing. And it grows by our attention and our intention. And we put that light into that seed, this seed of light starts growing. And the more people feed this seed, the bigger it gets. And the hypnotic suggestions are kind of just being crowded out or pushed to the side because they're not being fed anymore. So if you want to live in an abundant experience on planet Earth, please join me. I think it will be fun. All right, my friends, have a beautiful and abundant day.